What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on Truth Be Told.
Welcome to Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie. I'm Tony Sweet. I'm here with the amazing Dean Ryan, producer extraordinaire, radio host, and a damn good guy. So we have a great show for you guys today. Eddie Connor will be back next week after his tour of Peru. But Dean, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce our guest today, Sarah Adams.
Well, Sarah Adams is a multi-dimensional life coach. She's truly an esoteric goddess who understands the vibrations of Earth and also in people, and really provides a great esoteric understanding of not only the political climate, which we're enduring here in America and England, but also an esoteric understanding of people in general. And really, she's experienced past lives. She's experienced, I don't even want to say levitating because that's just false advertisement, but she really knows the past, the present, and the future, and really where we're going and how to live a holistic life, not just in what we put in our mouths and our bodies, but a holistic life and how we treat others and ourselves. So it's an incredible guest here on Truth Be Told, and I'm rather excited if you can't tell.
Well, we have Sarah Adams on the show. Hi, Sarah Adams.
Been looking forward to it.
Well, we're excited too. And first of all, I want to get started because I saw this was in one of your bios, and I've heard of life coach, but what is multidimensional life coach? What is that?
So for me, I see a lot of people who are in this area who are call themselves spiritual leaders, or people who are coaching for just, natural health. So this is something I put together that sort of it takes on all areas, takes on all levels, all subjects. It takes on healing on every single level possible. That means instead of just seeking healing through supplements or healing through, getting Reiki or energy work,
right?
Because people usually focus on like one thing. This is the issue. So by bringing all these things together, and this is how I healed myself a lot and how I get through a lot of life because it's helped me out. By bringing these things together, putting them all together, homeopathy, Reiki, superfoods, herbal supplements, diet, energy work, by bringing these all together, it can literally change a person's life and change their frequency. And I call it multidimensional life coaching because of that, because it's literally body, mind, and soul, and it works on fixing all of those aspects. So for me, I think it is the new phase of life coaching because of the fact that most people, like I said, just focus on one or two things. And
Right.
To heal, I believe that we have to do it on many, many levels.
So tell me, most people we have on the show for the first time, we'd like to know a little bit about their background and how they got into working as a multidimensional life coach. So where did you grow up, and when did you kind of make the transition of opening your multidimensional self into this plane?
So I'm going to scare you now.
Oh, don't. You can't scare me. We just had Roger Stone on, so no, you can't scare.
I grew up partially in the United States and partially in France, and I've lived in England. And the thing is that all of these experiences, they started when I was a child. I sort of had a remembering of past lives. I also have interaction with different. Sorry, I don't mean to be shaking. Let me try to put this down a bit more on my camera so it's better. I'm
You poor
trying
arm.
to bring all of my my experiences that I had that are multidimensional
Mm-hmm.
together. Um, the thing is that as a child, I experienced remembering past lives, even on planets, and all sorts of things. I was able to tap into angels. I always have ghosts. I almost can relate to the ghost whisperer because even last night I had some work to do and I was at a meeting and I remember that it's just like I kept hearing this ghost and she was right in back of me and she kept calling my name. So I have interacted with ghosts a lot. Oh, astral projection, outer body experiences, the list goes on, and I was born like this. I just think as I got older, I accepted it more. I decided not to try to fit into society. Um, I did grow up in France. I helped my mom with her jewelry store in France. I have 7 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
Yes,
Are you the only one that
I'm my dad's
experiences?
only child.
Oh, okay, okay. But so you have half brothers and sisters?
Yes, yes.
So your other half brothers and sisters, did they get this gift too?
I think some of them have it. I think some of them have different gifts than me. They're very intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to I explore it more. And I also the abilities I have, I've sort of like worked with them and sort of because when you have an ability, if you do not train it, it's sort of everywhere.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I'm doing the whole multidimensional life coaching is to help gifted children or to help gifted people to try to find a balance because it can be very hard for people like us to find balance in life, balance in both 3D world, the physical world, and everything else that we experience. But yes, they do have abilities. I've just accepted mine a lot more, I think, and tuned into them more and tuned them up.
Sarah, in the last segment, Tony mentioned, which I agreed with him, which is very rare, but sorry to tell you.
That's okay, Dean.
It's all right.
That's all right.
I'll never be back on this show. Anyways, no, Tony mentioned a political awakening. I not even just I would say just the United States, but also in England. England wanting to get out of the EU and so forth. But the paradigm shift of people are realizing, wow, there's fraud in the elections. There's even more so fraud in government, and there's only like a 9% approval rating in for Congress. I want to ask you, as someone who's very in tune, as you were saying, do you find that there's a spiritual awakening going on around the world, and people are finding more in tuneness with themselves of not only what they eat, but a sense of well-being and of nature and the spiritual sense around them? Do you see that happening as well?
I do, and I think that a lot more people, because they were pushed to the brink of despair, just with all of the economy that's went down, I think the hardship has really pushed people to explore more. You know, how does it go to create diamond? Pressure creates diamond, and I think this is the same with humanity. I think humanity, if they have it easy, they're not going to want to get out of the sort of imprisonment they're in, and the hardship has actually helped humanity because a lot more people are saying, yes, there's something wrong and we don't like living like this. And they're starting to explore new ideas and explore things, uh, including natural health, detoxing, and things like that. Um, when it comes to politics, I think that politicians will eventually, and even now, they're going to be pushed more to sort of bring what the people want. So that makes sense. They're going to have to be more in tune with the people. It's going to happen very soon, I believe. And I also believe it's happening now to an extent. And as humanity wakes up, it's going to affect everything. But as for politicians, I get involved to a certain point because I'm very, very spiritual. And I think a lot of the work we do on the inner and a lot of the work we do on frequencies that reflects on the outer. So I'm very, very in tune with working on myself so that that affects everything else. I do believe this will happen and is happening in a chain reaction. I can say from years ago, there were very few people who were awake, and now it seems that it's popping up every day, more and more people that are waking up and that are taking a stand for what they feel. My huge thing in the United States with politics is this. I noticed the difference. Yes, other countries are really bad, and we talk about England, and yeah, it's pretty bad in England. The thing is that the system's a bit better in supporting people over there, like with healthcare and things like that, than it is here. I think that for us being such an advanced country in the United States, we have just systems that are outdated and systems that aren't inherent to helping the people anymore, and almost systems that are keeping people from growing. Uh, I am very much trying to get involved in helping promote healthy school lunches, help and aid for handicapped people, help and aid for elderly people because they really, really need it. I know in France, growing up in France, I was able to see that the elderly over there were giving free nurses. Like, I think in
Well,
America we should
Sarah,
have
I want to jump in real quick, very rudely, if you don't mind.
that.
I think this is kind of where the two coincide, and I talk about a lot about this, where the spiritual world and this political world almost have to unite because, on one hand, people like me and Tony and yourself, we want to go feed people. We want to go feed the homeless. We want to do free lunches and have stands and help the homeless out. On the other hand, of the political side, which I think is so important, it's illegal to do that. In fact, there's a man doing it in Florida. There's friends of mine doing it in Dallas. They will arrest you, they being the cops on behalf of the politicians. Even here, when we just had Elvis Summers on, when we try to give tiny homes to the homeless, we're getting arrested, we're getting confiscating. Elvis is getting death threats. So I think it's time, two things, that we are very spiritually awakened. But I think it's also, we have to understand the political apparatus that is surrounding us that will prevent us from being our full potential as spiritual beings, too. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a crucial time for people who may be listening to this said, that spirituality stuff, not for me, I don't care, I'm going to tune out. No, this is important, too. This is not just political warfare that's going on to the human psyche. We're involved in an incredible spiritual warfare. So I think your message is resonating with myself and so many others right now.
Thank you. This is the thing. It seems like within these last, I've noticed since 9/11, it seems that humanity has been pushed a lot more under suppression by darker, lower forces. And when people suffer, there's a sort of energy rape that goes on. I don't know if you've looked into these subjects. This is something that I know extensively about. When a person is stressed out or a person is unhappy and sad, they lose energy off their body. That energy is retrieved by darker negative entities. This is why, and this is, we can talk even about the whole thing of heartbreak eventually. This is why so many people in the world are heartbroken, and the darker entities like this, because they feed off of it. This is what's happening. They want these people suffering. So essentially, you have the good side that's trying to use, those who are streaming the divine or the goodness or have a good heart. Those people are trying to help out the homeless and stuff. Then you have the sort of political figures that, and I'm sorry, anybody of status, I think, is targeted more by negative forces because they can be used more. So I think with great power, what's the saying? With great power comes great responsibility, or something like that. I've heard it like years ago.
Sounds good.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
Well, that's it, and we have these people in power places, and they're not spiritually put together themselves. They're being accessed by darker negative entities and being used to then suppress people so that the negative entities can feed off of those people who are being suppressed. So what we're doing is we're not just coming up against people when we do these type of things. When we do this work, we're going up against the literal dark forces that are keeping the world pulled down, that are keeping people suffering. And believe me, they don't want to lose their food
So are you
source.
talking about something that cannot be seen by the visible eye? I mean, I know David Icke talks about the eyes only trained to see visible light. Are you talking about dark forces that we cannot see that are in front of us, the almost interdimensional entities or something of that sort?
Yes. And this is why, and a lot of religious books are taken literally. This is an issue. They're to be taken, um, supposed to be taken metaphorically. I think I told you that the other day. I was trying to tell you that there's a verse in the Bible that's very interesting. It says, we fight not against flesh and blood, but the powers of the air or something like that, saying it's unseen forces we're fighting against. We're not fighting against literal people. So when you do this work, you're not going against that person. You're going against what's controlling that person. And what's controlling that person, it doesn't want to let go of that person. And it also doesn't want you to rescue the people that are being fed off of by negative forces.
Is
In
this
any religion, if in all old tales, you go back, you research this, and what do you find out? There is certain beings, or whether they're called demons, archons, or whatever, they're feeding off of humanity. And this is well known all around the world in all these different myths and all of these different religions. They're all under different names, but it's all the same thing.
Well, it sounds like this has been going on for millenniums, and so
Yeah.
how does somebody in 2016? How can somebody like myself, Dean, and even you, as an individual, start a change within ourselves that can start a change within our, our community, to our country, to our world? How can we start to make a change to where making it more a positive feeling and how can we do that? Because I mean, if it's been going on for this long, can we even make a change?
We can, and this is why I'm doing the work I'm doing, and I'm trying to awaken people. I think it's really about building up our genetics. I really believe that all of the, what they call the junk DNA wasn't junk DNA originally. I believe that humans were totally lit up and were multidimensional and could see these forces, and they could keep them at bay, and they would access all of the a lot
Now,
of things
what do you
I
mean?
access.
What do you mean by junk DNA? Just for people that are like, what what the
Don't
hell
look
is?
at me.
Okay. Hold on, I'm looking at Tony. Tony, what do you? No, what is junk DNA for someone who's completely illiterate to these type of terms?
I guess, what do you call it? Is it the supposedly turned off DNA that we have in us? Is that what I think that's what
Like the extra chromosome or the
it's like DNA that they say is like that you have, but it's not lit up. It's like
okay,
junk DNA they call it, or I guess it's not lit up.
or the sixth sense, the sixth eye, or
The third eye. Okay,
the
so the
third
third eye
eye.
is different than the junk
Okay,
DNA.
thank you. All right.
But yes, okay, but
Good
those
try.
are connected in a way too, because when your third eye is open, it means that if you get your DNA healed, and it's funny because a lot of things like preservatives, all sorts of chemicals that are in our foods and colorants, those really mess up the DNA. They literally mess up the DNA. So by healing yourself, I noticed that a lot of people that heal themselves just on a level of nutrition, their third eye will start lighten up, and so it's connected to the DNA. And as the DNA heals somewhat, the third eye starts to light up. So this goes back to me saying that humanity originally, before the fall in frequency or vibration, was multidimensional, and all of that was lit up. So I think that now we're starting to figure this out. There's all these articles coming out about this. I think that we can literally light our DNA up more or heal our DNA by supplements, meditation, visual meditation. Literally, there's simple exercises you can do to yourself that really affects your body. There are articles coming out that saying even speaking to our organs, speaking to our body just heals it and makes it, come alive more or attract more energy to it so that it can revitalize itself and renew itself. I do think in life we get so caught up on the outer that we sort of don't pay much attention to the inner, and we disconnect from ourselves, and this is a huge issue. And the reconnecting to ourselves is something that I believe now is happening. People are starting more and more to reconnect to themselves, and they're starting to understand that everything that we need is within us. We just need to take the time to care for ourselves, to heal ourselves, and to come at peace, become or come to peace within ourselves.
Sarah, this is great because this, I know you speak to everyone from all over the world, but how do we reach a class of young people? And I'm sure Tony knows what I'm talking about. The millennial class, the millennial generation. They're so embedded into these things called smartphones. In fact, I think if I were to date a millennial, I think I would have to duct tape her phone on my forehead so she can so she'll look at me and pay attention. They're constant. Life is what happens when you're looking at your smartphone.
It's true.
How do we reach a class or a generation of people that are so ingrained to play video games, to be on Snapchat, to be on Instagram, that are constantly taking selfies? I mean, how many deaths were there in the country?
I'm sure
there's
quite
a
a
lot.
few.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
How do you?
Deaths? I have never heard of that.
Well, look it up. You heard it here first. But how?
Look at this. Is this on the Darwin Report or something? Have you heard of the website, the Darwin Report? I love that website, by the way.
No, I haven't. But so
Check it out.
no. So here's my question. How do we reach that people, the millennium class, or millennial class, excuse me, that are now getting older and they're so bombarded with this, the electronic pollution, they have no attention span. A lot of them are heartless and cold, some of them. Do you find it very hard reaching those type of people?
There is a disconnect in the newer generation that I'm afraid of. There's a lot of disconnect on many levels, but there's also a lack of morals, a lack of boundaries, a lack of self-responsibility that is very scary to me. And growing up, I grew up really harsh, and I've always been somebody who's probably had too many boundaries and too many morals. But I think it's sometimes better to have more than not enough. I'm just really alarmed at a lot of the stuff, whether it's the cell phone thing that's happening at I don't know what age. I see these little girls now that are just doing their makeup and contour, and they're like 5 years old and recording it. And people think this is cute, and I think that this is absolutely disgusting.
It is disgusting, Sarah, and the music they're listening to has such a low vibration. Tony, you listen to the hip hop that
Oh my
when you
God,
were
you
growing
got
up.
to that age.
Yeah.
Where you're actually saying, what these kids listen to nowadays.
No comment, but the low vibration in the hip hop, it's,
No,
the lyrics, it's so utterly disgusting. Sarah, what say you?
it's no self-respect whatsoever. And did I lose you guys?
No, we're here.
No, we're talking about the low vibration in hip hop and like disgusting artists like Drake and Kanye West that are totally polluting
Hey,
our music.
I told you about Drake. Drake he's like the whole draconian. Well, David Icke, the reptilian. You have draconians above them. Drake,
He's pure evil. Pure evil.
Yes, and then you've got, what did you just say? Kanye West, Kane.
Yeah, these Illuminati subculture creatures from the gutter. Yes, continue.
But he's Kanye. His name Kanye is based on the Cain bloodline. Do you know the Cain in the Bible that killed his brother Abel?
Right.
Absolutely.
I've noticed this, and this happens a lot, where their names are they're literally worshiping these either fallen beings or stuff like that. So it's just something they like flaunt, and they get very happy of flaunting such things. But yeah, the sad part is they're probably taken over to the point that they need a lot of help. They really do, because the entities are so in control of them that they're not making their own decisions or anything anymore. And as psychic as I am, I know how this happens. But yes, it's just ridiculous, because it's like hip hop is instilling a lack of moral boundaries, and it's just about using people and about get money and about, it's so degrading to women. It is so degrading to women. It's about teaching men not to respect women and to treat women as objects that, and do whatever with those objects. It's not about acknowledging a woman as another human being, and it's not about acknowledging love. It's about just using people almost as, how do you call it, as a
commodity.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word right
And this is what I'm talking about, Tony. It's so how do we reach these young people? And if people don't know what millennials are, I'm talking about people in their early 20s to late 20s that are now coming into the workforce, and literally they're like a zombie class of people. They're as loyal as their options, and it's so disheartening to me. And I almost want to run to Switzerland because I'm very afraid of the future. I'm more afraid about that generation rather than I am of who's going to be president. I mean,
this round, yeah.
I mean, you've talked to young people, Tony, and you know
Oh
what
yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about.
No,
It's
well, I grew up in Kansas, so
Right.
you know, and I'm 46 years old, so I my generation, you know, is grew up in the 80s, and so we did have a different type of morals, a different type of respect,
right.
that especially growing up in the Bible Belt where I'm from. Even though I'm not a big religious person, I'm more of I'm
Traditions,
just spiritual. I'm very traditional, and I'm very patriotic. I mean, I love America. I'm just not fond of my country. But the millennials, I've noticed, it has. And not no respect to our young man in the studio, or Tony here, but
Well, he's an intern. He
yeah,
can
he's
take the abuse.
yeah, he can take the abuse.
Hazing.
But you know, I have noticed there is a different work ethic. There's a different view on life. There is no long-term dedication that I'm seeing. You know, I'm not saying that
Loyalty,
it's
yeah.
everyone. I'm not putting everybody in that
Of course,
category, but I've
a
seen,
good.
and I have to say that I can almost tell, and you know, this is nothing against Bernie Sanders, but I'm saying I can tell who is a Sanders supporter by who they are.
They're based on emotions.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we're talking about a class of people that are based on emotions. Emotions first, ask questions and logic later. It's how do we
Right.
get those people to enter the spiritual awakening that Sarah Adams is talking about?
Well, Sarah, do you maybe throw this in real quick and just see what you think? Do you think the indigo children of that generation and even younger are going to make the difference?
I do believe a lot of those kids will, and I'm seeing that pop up, so that's a very positive thing. And thank you for bringing that up, by the way.
You're welcome. But so
I also I think though it's really sad, but on Earth things have to become a fad. Here on Earth, if something's a fad, everybody's going to do it. I notice how healthy eating now has just become a fad, and so everybody's going to do or is doing it. That's it. I think that a lot more people are waking up, and this is going to probably be what saves us in the end. I think there's going to be a lot of domino effect with that. Otherwise, we might even go into Switzerland. I don't think we'll be far enough if the world continues on the path of the culture you're talking about, because it's really awful. I was reading the other day that some children's first sexual encounters are at 5 to 7. That's insane.
what the
Like
hell?
that is insane. I'm not
Wow.
sending my
Is
kid
this
to
in
school.
that Darwin
I would
website you're
not
talking
send my
about?
Right. Damn.
it's from little girls contouring their faces. I was when right before I left England, I was shopping at a women's store, and there were 13-year-olds there, and their stomachs were showing, and they were saying things I'd never say, even at this age, and they were just talking about boys they were hooking up with at 13-year-olds, 12 and
My
13
God.
year olds, and they had so much makeup on, and they were just walking around like looking at grown women's like clothing, and it was absolutely disgusting. And I looked at that and I would thought, oh my god, the world is in so much trouble if it continues down this road. I will not send my kid to school or anything. They'll go to some special school where they have to wear a uniform or something. I'm not having a kid that is going to do this. I'm not.
Wow,
That's never gonna
that's disturbing.
But I'm going to throw this out there and tell me what you think. The generation of the 60s, the flower children, do you feel like the drugs of the 60s are the smartphones of this generation? Yeah, I know it's a little different because it didn't.
make people mad with that question.
I know, you know what I'm saying, because
Tony,
it
I'm
was
pretty pissed off
but
that you asked that
it was a
question.
distraction from, even though a lot of people
upsetting.
into their spiritual world. But do you feel that the drugs became a distraction to their actual purpose? where smartphones have been distraction for morals, values.
Absolutely. That's why they were created, right? The EMF addiction that comes with
because
it.
because a lot of the drugs of that era were created by man. It wasn't natural. Like
It's
we're not
awful.
talking pot and hemp and all that stuff. We're talking heroin and the
L-
bigger drugs,
LSD,
LSD.
Okay, so
cocaine.
this is my view of this. First of all, the negative things is yes, the EMF and all of that. I think though that it also is keeping people sort of occupied on the outside. Like again, what did I say? Occupied on the outside, so that people aren't realizing what's wrong with them, what they need to heal within themselves, what they need to do in life. They're sort of keeping them always glued to a screen, always occupied. So they're not having. It's also keeping them from thinking. It's a very good thing to take a walk outside without your cell phone and think, and just think about all these different things that whether your day or whether it was last week or whether it's important things. People are so occupied on their cell phones too. It's like they're not even thinking anymore. They're not. Everything is just taken very lightly. It's almost how do you put it? It's almost it's very hard to say this in words because I know how I sense it from people. It's making them a bit shallow. Does that make sense?
Oh yes, of
Not
course.
deep emotional sort of thing. They don't ever think. They don't think about anything. In the olden days or in the older days, you got to sit on your porch. You got to chop wood. You were thinking while you were doing those things. Now you have your cell phone. You chop wood with your cell phone, or whoever's even in the mountains or have their cell phones now. I was seeing like
Tony, were you chopping
in
wood in the
mountains,
old
they
days?
have
How'd you
cell
know?
phones.
You're talking about Tony's childhood of chopping wood and
that's
cow
how I
tipping.
got my dinner.
Yeah, he remembers.
It's
Well,
so
you know what? One thing that I noticed in the news lately, and social media when it really started grasping
I'm not.
our
Go ahead.
our grasping our everyday ability to even breathe, where what we would say to somebody in person, which we wouldn't have. It's easier to say, like you said, there's stalkers, there's people can say so many different things behind
I know.
social media.
You're telling me.
But they would still not say it to you face to face. Where I'm seeing on the news a lot more, especially with like celebrities, that these people are starting to just come up and just say what they would type, and behind the scenes now they're starting to say it more in person. The younger generation of come up and taking a picture. Hey, I'm going to take a picture. I pretty much own you because I bought your record. I'm hearing more and more of this from celebrities saying that they don't even come up and talk to anymore. They just come up and take a picture like they own you. Like they say, like I'm just a zoo animal. So I'm hearing this more and more. So I think
I think I was reading an article about Justin Bieber saying that he was
he
just
said it.
like ranting about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just reading an article about that, and I understand because see, the work I do. I already get people that come up to me and want to do this and this and this and speak to me and stuff. It's so draining, and they think because you decided to be a public speaker that you even in messages. I get thousands of messages, and people are so mean. They expect me to answer every single message. They don't realize that how many thousands. I've got like 20,000 messages in my inbox, and
Wow.
there is no possible way for me to have a somewhat normal life and look at all these messages and respond back. This is why I do shows and stuff, so I can sort of get it out to everybody, to help them the things that I need to get out. But people become absolutely rude about that, and it's very draining to read some of those who have said amazing things. Then after you can see their true self come out, and if you don't answer, they're like so mean, so harsh to you, and you're like, oh my God, like I'm really glad that I passed you up because there's the true you right there. You were hiding yourself. It's for energy again. It's sort of energy vampiric energy stealing again. So I'm very careful with people of who I let around me and who I let connect to me, even in the area I'm in, because there's a lot of energetic predators,
Right.
and people who are different like us. We have different auras that are pulsing a lot of energy, so we're often targeted by people who are in need of energy. Also, people see other people as objects. I think when I read the Justin Bieber article, I think he's just seen as an object. But maybe I think if he did more work to sort of help empower people and things
I
like
agree.
that, he might be seen a little different.
Well, I
People,
totally agree. I mean, as a Justin Bieber fan myself, he's an incredible artist, and I think he's evolving to the next level that you're talking about. But let me ask you this, Sarah: is it because of technology that the attention span and in particularly young people, but you can even make a case of older people as well that are tech savvy? Is it because of technology that attention and you can even make a case for loyalty is almost decreasing, or is it because of these shadowy entities that you're speaking about that is happening, or is it a mixture of both? See all the above.
so I think that technology, okay, so I think originally, this is my theory on it. Now you get to hear my theory.
Oh, yay!
Okay, so I think originally humanity was lit up. They talked telepathically. Everybody could sense everybody's emotions. They would speak in such a way that everybody was connected. So that it was they were all multidimensional. I think when humanity fell, they were given this technology from darker beings, and I think that's why a lot of this technology that we find stems from certainly darker places. Even whether it's bombs or anything, whether it's tech like, it's tech like computers, cell phones, or stuff. Even all of these all of this technology is bringing us away from ourselves, not towards ourselves. And it's creating more problems on the outer, thus creating problems on the inner. So I think that it's sort of, yeah, it seems like very advanced technology to us. Well, not us, me, I know differently, but to people, it seems like very advanced technology. But originally, the spiritual technology that we had within ourselves was much more advanced than the technology we have like this.
Wow.
Interesting.
In a couple of weeks, I'm going out to Contact in the Desert, and by the way, they're one of our sponsors. Contact, have you been there?
I spoke at it last year.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be there this
Thanks
year.
for going and watching my lecture that you forgot.
You were great.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I'm excited. Eddie and I've never been, so Eddie and I
It's
are
good.
going to be there
It's
for the first
in,
time.
Joshua Tree.
Yeah, Joshua
and
Tree.
It's a very spiritual place.
Yeah,
Awesome.
retreat
Very
center,
nice.
and I'm excited. And this is what I learned from one of my guests a couple years ago, maybe a year ago. But they were talking about the dark forces of there's different alien species where there's some that help us, that have helped us, and some that don't have our greatest benefit. They want us to fail, and I think that's where the technology came from what I've heard, is
Yes.
because if you think about it, there's no way that we could barely build an airplane in the early 19th century by 1969 to supposedly land on the moon, but even just to get into space, there's no way our technology can have moved that fast.
Notice too, in 1969, you got 666 there.
Oh my God.
I was born in
Have you noticed the
1969. What does
numbers,
that
like the
mean?
number sequences and this
That
stuff is all usually has 666. If you go through a lot of main events, you always have certain number sequences.
It's like I was born in
Turn your mind
1969.
upside down, and you
What
got
does that mean?
666 there.
It explains everything.
Sarah, I said I was born in 1969. What does that mean?
Would you like me to tell you?
I'm
No.
technology.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Someone shut his mic off
Oh,
quickly.
okay. Hey, okay, I'll shut mine off.
Intern. By the way, intern, more coffee. Thank you. All right, continue,
Sorry,
Sarah.
I thought you
They're
said about technology.
No,
Yes.
no. It is no technology
Yeah.
I was talking about, but it is. It's most people like just think that we progressed to that point naturally, and I'm like, there's just no way that we could have grown that fast
Right.
I
without
think it was
help.
when was the Roswell crash?
1947, I believe.
47. Let's see. When was I born? Before that.
You were born 47.
Around there. Yeah, around that time. Yeah.
Of that ancient, huh?
No, Sarah, there really always been two arguments, and I talk about this often secretly, is that they say evolution, then they say there's creationism, and people that don't buy that, they talk about what you probably know of interventionism, and kind of what Tony's referring to is
I'm stuck on the whole 666 that you flip upside down and it's 999. And have you heard of Planet Nine? that they
Yes,
just discovered,
I have. Yes.
and the whole 369, and it's been stuck in my mind. So like everywhere I go, it just comes up every single place that I go. And it's funny because before Planet Nine, sorry, go back to this. Before Planet Nine appeared, I had sent to a mutual friend of ours about the ninth wave and about ninth planet, and then suddenly it appeared in the media. And then they're going back and forth to saying that they haven't discovered it to they have discovered it. And from what I know, the yin and yang. Have you seen the yin and yang? How it's
Yes.
like two nines or two sixes, yeah, and you can flip back and forth. They always use that. Number of man is 666. Okay, and you flip that upside down, you got 999. And the original number of the creators was supposed to be nine,
Hmm.
nine or nines. The ninth wave, the ninth realm, something connected to the ninth realm.
That's fascinating.
Well,
Wow.
that's why they call it the ninth gate of
Ah,
hell,
yes, see,
right?
there's
Roman
a
Polanski talked about that in the movie, which oddly enough came out in
that movie is
1999.
very interesting to me because just of the
Connections.
fact that nobody realizes that it's the blonde woman in there that he gets with that allows him to enter the ninth wave, but he's going opposite. So you can go up or down. In that movie, from what I think that he's doing is it's definitely a whole movie about soul selling or him selling his soul in a way. Um, and nobody realizes that it's the blonde girl he gets with in there, that she's a portal.
Oh,
Well, she's
Yeah,
like the devil, and then he winds up having relations with her, and
is that sex?
energetically, it's
well,
about
yeah.
something
Well,
that
I'm
it's a
just
family
kidding.
show, Tony.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Anyways,
encoded. That movie is one of it's amazingly encoded movie. It's that one,
it
Eyes
is.
Wide Shut, and a couple of other
Well,
ones are.
Rosemary's Baby, the first
Oh,
one that Roman Polanski made, total Satanist. If you look into his work and what he's done off screen, but anyways, there's a lot of, like you're saying, symbolism. But I want to actually talk about symbolisms of not. There's numerology symbolisms, but even the symbolisms that are like right in front of us. In fact, if you look at a Toyota car and you look at the emblem of it, it is really a planet with all the rings. So what planet do we know has all the rings? It's Saturn. What do the elites worship is the dark planet of Saturn, which is, somewhat Satanist to some. But I mean, do you know what I'm talking about, sir? The symbolism and the symbology that just surrounds us in everyday life.
I know this. I do a lot of study into symbolism. Um, oh my God, the whole 9-6 thing is stuck in my head. That has not left me for months. But yes, with symbolism. So let me explain to you something. Uh, a good example is Sam's Club. I was looking at. I don't like Walmart at all. I was looking at Sam's Club. Now, Sam's Club is a part of Walmart, or it's a branch of
Right. It's
the
Sam
famous.
Walton. Right.
Yes, but what coincidence that he named it Sam's Club. Now, the really interesting thing is that another name for Lucifer is Samiel.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yes, and so Sam's Club. So you've got literally they're saying that they're part of the elite Luciferians, saying club of Sam's Club, Samuel's Club.
Wow. I just got
It's
the chills right now. I just got the
now
chills.
let's go a bit deeper. Let's go to Christmas, the holiday Christmas, Christ, and then Mass. If you turn MAS around, what do you have?
Sam.
Oh.
Exactly. It's saying that we're worshiping Lucifer as the Christ. Christmas.
What was a pagan? He was more of a pagan.
Well, what is Santa? Santa's missing the N at the end.
Santa, yes, you got
Satan.
Satan.
Satan. All the kids
What
love him. He
is
wears red.
dressed? What is he dressed in? He's dressed in red, and he always comes from somewhere very cold. Now think about it. The red is symbolic of the lowest chakra. Saturn is always tied to lowest chakra. Um, the whole red chakra. Now you have the whole thing of the Egyptians, Set and Osiris, and the whole battle between Set and Osiris. Okay, so Osiris, you have the word iris in it, an iris of an eye. Now, it doesn't have, when it says iris, it's implying one, it's implying the third eye, the iris. So this iris, the crown chakra, Set, Satan's Set, is connected to the lowest red chakra. The battle was for us to be divinely connected or to be disconnected. This is the thing, that there was an energetic battle literally within the chakra systems of the body, of us to be connected divinely. When we're connected divinely, we're connected to heart, and then we're connected to sexuality. However, the ones who are shut down, they're connected the other way around. First comes sexuality. Do you see how it's reversed?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And people who are, yes. So in symbolism, the Set, the Osiris, the war between Set and Osiris is definitely about the literal battle within us, spiritual battle within us, between the crown chakra and between the divine God self that streams. That's why halos are always around the head. This is representing the crown chakra connection between our bestial lower self. Now, humanity only evolves once it uses the knowledge, the crown connection connected to the heart, to overcome the bestial lower self. Many people are disconnected from their crown chakra, disconnected from their heart, and only live in the bestial lower self, and that's why we have a lot of promiscuousness, and that allows a lot of negative entities to be attached to people and things like this. So essentially in symbolism, that's just that right there was an example of the the symbolism of Set and Osiris. It's a literal thing to do with the chakras too, and nobody realizes this. As for symbolism, it's everywhere you go. I wish I could just do a video where walking around where I could just point it out, because it's like everywhere. It tells you things. Me, like I said, I'm stuck on the whole 666,999 thing, because there's a sort of a code there. And once I crack a code, once I figure out what it means, then I can move on to the next thing. But I do feel that symbolism is going to definitely take a new sort of, it's going to be the big thing soon. People are going to really, really get into it because it explains a lot of things. Think about the globe, the world. It's like a globe. It's like a crystal globe with all the water, with everything within it. So everywhere you walk, it's reflecting everything, every energy, every person that's connected to you. You just got to look around and see the symbolism to pick that up so that you know what's going on different levels.
Well, our time, we only have about a minute and a half left, and this has been such a fascinating stories and great work that you do. And where do people find you? Because I'm sure we've had people in the chat room saying that you're right on, and they might want to get in contact with you. What type of work would you do with just everyday folks that want maybe to enlighten their lives?
I'm very elusive to a lot of things. I keep it to myself. I'm trying to have a quite a normal life and at the same time help other people out, which can be hard. I do the multidimensional coaching that I spoke about. You can find me on Facebook under my name. You have me on your Facebook, right? Don't you?
Right. Yeah.
You
No,
don't
it's right under your
Sarah R.
right.
Adams. Yes. I haven't. You know what? I just don't have a website right now. I do have a blog, and then I have my Twitter and Thumbtack. So you can find me on any of those places, and you just search in my name, and I should come up. I don't know. I didn't want to do a blog I didn't want to do a website right now. So I'm just focusing on putting a lot of information in my blog that I'm writing. So that's my main focus right now.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and thank you, Dean, for getting this lovely lady on the show.
Well,
she's great.
Oh no, she's a beautiful soul that has a lot to offer in the spiritual warfare world, and we're all just trying to wake people up.
True.
Whether it's from our chakras or whether it's just putting good people in office and making some difference, or giving hungry people food.
That's right.
Right? You know what I mean? So we're all trying to make a difference.
Speaking of hungry.
Yeah, well, a little bit, but we got to meet people. We got to meet people where they're at, and Sarah's right on the money, and she's an incredible talent. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. We really appreciate you being on Truth Be Told. You have to come back.
I loved it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we want to give you an applause. All right. Well, if you missed this show, or if you tuned in halfway through, please go to truthbetoldwebtv.com. You can check out all of our upcoming guests. Go to YouTube, Truth Be Told. Check out all of our videos. There's probably over 100 and almost 150, 200 shows there now. And check us out on iHeartRadio and iTunes. And this will be up in a couple days. Next week, I have John B. Wells, who you might know from used to be Coast to Coast. Now he has his own website, Caravan to Midnight. And then I have Scott Walton. He is the host of America Unearthed on History Channel. He just finished, I think, last year, the season 3. I'm so excited. This guy, he travels the world to find out all the mysteries that we've been talking about today, from conspiracy theory to secret societies to lost treasures and all around the country. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we are out, and we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Dean, thank you so much for 2 weeks of being with me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. And
you've been great.
Greatest show of all time.
Oh, you can say that again. All right. We're out of here, and we'll see you next week. Eddie Connor will be back, so we get to hear all about his Peru trip. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Shar Vision right after this. Bye.